and you have entered it. Dear diary.
They're going somewhere. They're just headed somewhere.
Because the way they used to heal our wounds, the moment you fall down, Django. Yeah.
But the cups are
Hurry
not
up
washed.
and run.
Or
And,
she'll touch the ceiling and be like, dust.
Let's talk about life.
The highs, the lows, and the transitions.
This is Real Life Diaries, so let's dive in. Hi. What do you mean?
Seriously.
I do seriously. What do you... Okay. Hi, Ma.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Kulika
How are you?
mbibuzo mkwano gwangu.
How are you?
You do know the last time we shot we were going for papers, right? Why don't you want me to talk about them?
Yeah, let's talk about them. I'm all in.
Yeah?
How are your papers?
No examination.
That's nice.
They tested my education.
That's really nice. Moving on. I don't want to answer that same question.
We shall come back later.
Yeah.
In 2 months. Fine. So guys, today we're going to talk about childhood traumas.
Childhood traumas.
And about how we are dealing with them, about how we are healing, about how we left them behind.
Leave them behind.
To gonna just be the cow, no? We ran the opposite direction.
Yeah.
I don't know where to start from.
What's a trauma?
Wait, I want to read it for you verbatim. Trauma is any experience that overwhelms your ability to cope, makes you feel unsafe, and leaves a lasting emotional, mental, or physical impact. It's not what happened, but how it made you feel and what it left behind.
That's the definition, right? I think there is the physical. You said the physical,
Mhm.
and then the emotional.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we were raised by parents who went through mostly the physical, and now our generation or their kids are going through the emotional kind of trauma. For our parents, did they live in that time of Ida? And they're really old. Ida Amin is just 1985, 19.
You're right.
Yes.
Is it 1985 really?
Yes, they had the war, they had the president's war.
Yeah,
Several
they
has
had
been
the
there for 40 years.
transition.
Our parents are in between 40 and
Yeah.
at most 65 or 70.
Hmm.
So I feel like for our parents, they went through war, they saw a harsh kind of life, and I think they weren't really able to digest all of that. Like 1 minute maybe they were running away from Obote or something, and then
Obote.
Amin is there, and then there's another war for the president Museveni. So I feel like they went through all of those changes. They were changing schools. One time you're in school, another time you're not in school. So I think for them it was mostly physical, like in terms of the kind of trauma that a war can leave on you,
Mhm.
and also emotional. So for the physical, they do have scars. You've seen people from the north showing you the scars from bullet wounds during the Kony thing. The Kony thing is actually very recent.
Yeah.
You've seen people show you those scars. But I think for our parents, what they did not manage to digest is the emotional trauma. And that they have fully expressed in the way that they raised our line of our generation, if I could say. Like I feel like they got all of those emotions and put it into how they raise children. For example, you must go to school. Our parents believe that you have to go to school to be successful, because in their time, if you went to school, you got a job from the government and they provided everything, right? And then they believe that you either have to be a doctor or an engineer or a nurse at worst. So that is how they were trained. That is how they grew up. And I feel like all of those emotions that they had to digest and they did not digest, they've put it so much into how they've raised their kids. For trauma, I think that it decides how the next generation is going to look like. And I think their trauma did decide how we grew up and how it was shaped for us. So yeah, to even the smallest thing. For example, like I just feel like they didn't have space for enjoyment. You know how when you're leaving the house in the like in the evening, your mom's like, "Where are you going?" I feel like it comes from a space for them. They weren't ever safe at night. We still aren't, but the kind of protection they put around it. Nowadays, people have ways, you go out and somehow, but for them, it was a no-go area. By 7, you should be in. By this time, this should stop. Don't play so loud music. Don't show that you're rich or that you have money. Why are you walking around in that kind of shirt? They had so much insecurity around such things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it displayed mostly in how we were raised a
Yeah.
lot.
Bana, welcome to entry 5. This one you have entered it. Dear diary.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like they really did master the physical part because the way they used to heal our wounds, the moment you fall down, Django. They had chiwankulata what they had like all ways of healing the physical, but then the moment you do like you remember those book comments of yes is this one like they used to have those book comments of you're already traumatized in the moment of like a plate is broken and they're like no
Yeah.
and I show you something. Yeah, they did not really master the emotional part.
What would you say is one of those traumas that you feel came from your childhood? For me, anyway, like that I have displayed. Let's talk about me. What is that one trauma that you see I have displayed and you think it comes from a space in my childhood or my inner child?
There's a word I'm looking for. Parentification.
Parentification. Who's parentified?
I feel like you had to be the strong one. You then had to parent everyone, the entire clan, including the parents themselves. There's the microphone. Tell them I'm lying. Say it there.
This is the thing. There's parentification, maybe. Firstborn syndrome. I'm not even the firstborn.
Yeah, but you have firstborn syndrome.
Maybe it comes from being ish the first girl. Ish is, you get the ish. Yeah, but like I think also being an elder child in a family does come with its own expectations.
Yeah.
Right?
So we should do an episode about that.
So for me, I think that the whole, what you call parentification, I have sisters, very, very many sisters. Okay, they're not many, they're just 4 little sisters.
Yeah.
But like, I think that comes with, when I was growing up, I remember in my mom's words, she used to say, how you turn out greatly defines how all of these other girls will turn out. So that's already pressure.
Yeah.
So I grew up knowing or thinking that I had to be a certain way. I had to grow up an exemplary way. Like I had to be good in school. I had to be good at doing stuff. Like I had to show up for my little sisters because to my mom, that's what meant unity. That's what meant love. That's how love was. Like you show up for your little sisters. You be there for them. Well, today, I do recognize it. You're not wrong. But I think I've let go of some things, like trying to be perfect. There's so much pressure that comes with trying to be the good child. You get how can you be the good child? You can't even go out and stay long. No, but so I've just let go of some of those things, but it's really hard because for your parents, they're used to seeing you like that. Like they're used to you being the exemplary one. They're used to you being the good one. So the moment you slack a little bit, it's chaos. And then you're like, but I thought this is how we are rolling. Everyone has been doing it. But like for you cannot do it. It does steal away some parts of your childhood. Because for me, I feel like I grew up so fast. Like it was like one thing after the other. Like I feel like I rushed through life. Not because not that it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing.
It helps you in so many other aspects.
Yes, it does help you. But also you miss out on, I think, some little tiny joys that whole rush steals from you. To the point that sometimes when I stop, like when my day stops, I'm like, no.
There's so much to do.
There's something else I should do. Or like I feel
you
like
can't
actually
rest.
for other people, these people who rush during work. Like, you know how you're at work, someone is not going anywhere. I really
They just
see it.
zoom past
Yes,
you.
but they're going somewhere. They're just headed somewhere. I'm like, that's trauma. That's trauma right there. I really do identify that for people. Like, there's just where there's always a state of emergency. You know, this thing where you're sitting at home, you're done with housework. My parents would always be like, but parents always just have a way of saying, but there is not clean.
Yeah.
But the cups are
Hurry
not
up
washed.
and run.
Or she'll touch the ceiling and be like, dust. Like, there's something you always have to be doing. So I think it has put us in a state of do something, get up, do something, just keep doing something. Like, there's always something you have to be doing. Is it a good thing? To some extent, but I think life is better when you actually live through a moment and soak it in, because then you don't even, like, you get to understand the moment that you're in at that particular time and actually appreciate it. I also feel like when the ball stops rolling, that's where this whole the depression and the anxiety, speaking of, like, you're anxious, you're always waiting for the next thing. And I think most of the mental health issues really do root from childhood traumas, because the effects are really long standing. Now imagine, like, work is done, you're not going out for plot or something, you're just in your house, and then power goes off, then your phone dies. Can you live like that? Like, you somehow, there's a way you're anxious, you can't live in that moment. I think a normal person's reaction would be like, okay, pause, checked, let me think, like, just think, or do something else, or stop for a minute. But that's not us, we can't do it.
Yeah, I think I experienced my version of yours in a way that there's a big age difference between me and my brothers. Okay, not big, but like it's like 5 years apart. And so when I'm the last born and the only girl. So I think when I was born, my mother was already tough from day one. Like my mom actually is the one they sent 2 kids to discipline them, and then they take them back. Like she was that aunt, and that. So I guess because she was raising boys, and there's a point in time when my dad wasn't around, like not like he wasn't present, but he had gone to work outside the country, and she was left with these adolescent boys plus a young child, like a young girl. So she was doing her best. But it reached a point where if my brothers needed something from my mom, they know because you're the only girl, you're the last born, they send you. Then I can't tell mom you want this. Then I go and tell my mom. If my mom needs something from my brothers, like she will shout, "Muje mnabe." The boys will not come. But when she says, go and tell your brothers it's time to shower, when I go and tell them, Kevin, mommy has said it's time to be there, that's when they're going to come. Now that kept going on. It did not stop up to now. I have to be like present for things to move. First go and tell. But when they call each other, it's as if they are not hearing each other. Then one has to call me to call the other.
Like you're used to being what keeps things together.
Yeah, I just know if something has to get done. I don't care if it's big house. Sometimes I'm like, you guys do realize I'm the young one here, right? But they're like, let Valeria first come. Okay, it's okay to in the Valley. Then when I reach, even if I say nothing,
you've done it for so long.
Yeah, so it also made me feel like I had to grow up chap because now my brothers were boys, adolescent boys. Do you know how hard those ones I had to just navigate as a parent?
Did it make you act like a boy at some point?
Oh, I was a tomboy.
You were a tomboy.
Up to senior 1.
This Bob would totally hide all of that.
Yeah. Actually, my mom didn't even really buy new clothes for girls except for Kuchala. Like I only have princess dresses for Christmas. Otherwise, I put on my brother's shorts. Actually, people think my dad has 3 boys as opposed to 2 boys and a girl, because also I used to look like one. I used to only play soccer. I was actually bullied about that when I was younger, because in primary, I used to only hang out with boys. The girls didn't like it. The girls didn't like it. Oh my God, I had so much trauma for that thing, by the way. Because I would go back to the girl side of the dorm, they're like, you're from playing with boys. Why do you like to play with boys? So, but I used not to, anyway, I didn't really have, because what was I going to do? Because when I go back home, I still have to play with boys. So when I come this side, I don't understand Chepe.
But I just know one trauma. Okay, I don't think it's a trauma, but I think it's from your childhood. So did they ever beat you to finish your food?
I don't like how this thing is very
I'm not bringing it out. Because I think you can leave
cool.
your food and take it out.
You guys, that's why I now have a
I've
smaller
never
plate.
been-
You guys, it was not for discussion.
Are you serious?
If they put that food on the plate, it has to be finished. Forget the fact that my mother raised us as free, like this household, like we are all equal. Like literally, if I'm washing dishes, my brother is peeling. But okay, there was no nothing. If it's time to go to the garden, everyone is in the garden. If it's time to put together the chicken house, I also have nails in my hand. So we all did things equally. The same thing was for food. The plates were the same size. Imagine I was busy eating like a boy. I was eating like a... They'll put the plates there like this. They put us equal amounts of portion, equal amounts of... You sit down.
Heal.
You
Is
sit.
what
You
I've come
gala
to
used
say
to
Heal.
But then that's
You can leave food
That's
on your
literally
plate.
it.
It's okay.
because I do have food issues. That is why I
Yes.
gained so much weight at some point. But now I have like dishes. I literally...
Yeah.
But also
You
now
eat
I
very
serve...
small portions
I now serve
and you
reasonable...
still do finish them though. But
yeah,
I
but
think
they have to be
making
small.
them
Because if I
small,
put big ones...
yes, you
Why
still
would
have
you
to
put
finish
it in the
them either.
fridge? But that one I've healed. I've
Yeah.
healed through my fitness journey. Now I can... Why were you putting that
But
amount of food on your
You see,
plate?
another trauma that I think has pushed to people's adulthood from childhood, public display of affection. Our parents never really displayed affection for... Okay, from where I'm from anyway. I don't know about you, but
Says Chimbo had her moments.
you see, like I didn't see parents hold hands. They did hold hands, like for pictures.
Yeah.
But like on a random day, I didn't see my mom get breakfast in bed or like just hang out with my dad. We did as a family.
But not
But
like them. Yeah.
Yes. So for a long time when I was growing up,
Mhm.
and then the church that I was going to cemented it. You'd go to church and the husband is sitting in front and the wife is sitting behind, probably in Sunday school.
Mm.
They were never seen together. Like you'd never really see couples together. And so for a very long time when I was growing up, I was like... And then there was this thing, like parents kept on saying, do not be with boys. Do not go next to boys. Boys are bad. Stay away from boys. So I was like, it's not okay
To be with boys.
To be with boys. Like even our parents are not with their
That's why those
wives
kids used
or
to
their
bully me as
husbands.
well. What is that
Yes,
about?
like, so
yeah.
when you are actually... Now for you were associating better with boys, but
Yeah.
it wasn't okay.
For them, they were
Somehow.
like, why would you go and
Yes,
play
because
with boys?
that is what has been preached. So even when I actually started dating, I was like,
Why am I sitting next
Why
to
you-
this boy?
why? No, not like why am I seated, but do you mind if we just call me or like do we have to meet? Why are we meeting? It
Yeah.
was really weird for me. Of course, now it has really settled in. And deep down, my inner child
Is healing.
craved
Yeah.
for... I love the public show. I cannot be in a secret relationship.
Yeah.
Like, because I think from...
we see.
I think like deep down, it's really what I think people should be able to show their full emotions without feeling like, what will they say? What will society say? Because even when you walk around, people deserve to express their emotions without feeling uncomfortable. After all, it's your husband or your wife. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like you're committing a crime or anything. I think that thing has really moved with people into their adult phase. And
Yeah, and also our parents is going to like express
Yeah.
their emotions themselves.
To
Oh my
us.
god. Like my mom to come out with that. Meanwhile, she really did change. I feel like my mom has healed part of my childhood in this adulthood, starting from like campus around second year. I remember we had like a fight. Like I told her, oh, I need money for hostel. And then it was like a WhatsApp message. And then she wrote back, she's like, no, but I don't have money. And I don't have money. So where do you want me to get it from? I was like, who do you want me to ask? Then she didn't reply to me the whole day. The next day she sent me a Bible verse. If you get angry, forgive. But I feel like that whole thing changed our dynamic a bit. These days, she got into her softer era. I think that period of time where she was left to grow boys. It wasn't just my brothers in the house though. There were like 4 boys and then myself. So she had 4 adolescent boys and then a child, a little girl to raise on her own at a certain period of time when my dad was working abroad. Again, he did not abandon us. Anyway, so that period of time hadn't had so much. It just went through growing up. Even now, my cousins, I can tell them, oh, no, I didn't sleep home. I was out. They're like, you were where? In whose house? Whose house did you live? Because she was that. But she's not to express any of the, you would be mad. But now when she calls me, I remember when she had just started the whole oh, hi, sweetheart. I'd be like, me? I feel like it's like the good before the bad happens. I'm like, either I've done something wrong when she's being like passive aggressive, or I'm about to do actually something wrong and then I'm never going to feel this again. So there was like that balance. But this day she's really soft. You can't tell her anything.
But I also think most of our parents, like I said earlier, they were coming from their emotions, the way they express their emotions. There was always something. They just didn't know how to talk about it.
Yeah. But no one taught them.
Yeah.
They didn't have resources like we do.
Yeah, to talk about some things or even to see some things. Like some things have just been normalized because you see them on the internet, getting down on one knee to propose.
Yeah.
People used not to do those things. There are some people who have even refused.
Yeah, they proposed to them. We know where they proposed to them from.
Yes. So all of those things, I think also being exposed, they weren't that exposed to so many things. So truly did put them in that headspace. But
now we need to heal it. And you know, the thing that I see most from my childhood coming into my adulthood in relationships is avoidance. Because I'm like, first of all, we went through a lot when we were growing up. 1 minute we had money, then we had zero. That's why my dad had to leave at some point. We went through it financially and hardship-wise. In that we didn't have time to process, like something was always going to come immediately after chino chiba chaka kwao. Before you look the other direction, another one has come. So there was no time to sit down and be like, how are you feeling? No, my dear, get up. Get up, we have things to do.
Do you think that, just to hold you there, do you think that displayed, because I remember at campus you really hustled gig after gig. You collected for us gigs. Do you think it displayed like that whole thing of you just have to work?
There's
you have
no
to
time.
Why
are you seated down? This is where I started my financial literacy journey in a trauma response to, because I was like, I am never going to lack that much, because that was too much.
Yeah.
If my parents had done this different, done that, we wouldn't have gone through all that. But it did make me, like, my response to that was, first of all, you need to get up and work, because like one day you will have nothing or whatever. Then you have to save. I was a serial saver at one point. Then I became a serial investor at another one. So I had to like collect myself and gather myself and find like a balance, which I'm still working on, because some days I'm just like standing order it out of my mind.
Val, you see, the thing is, you've mentioned that the traumas, they keep on going, right?
Yeah.
If you do not heal them, you push them to the next generation.
Yeah.
You said that it's something like, because of the lack at some point, it's something you never wanted to happen. For now, like me, I would be like, it's something I never want my child to experience. Lack. I feel like the scary part about it is that our response to all this trauma, which we have not maybe healed or gotten over, you now start to overcompensate for your child. For example, like I can be like, whatever my daughter asks for, I give her.
Yeah.
Like, should I have to experience lack? I don't know at what point parents balance it out. Like, okay, I don't want her to lack, but then again, I don't want her to be spoiled. You get, like, you're protecting her from this trauma of lack, but you're also exposing her to the trauma of, when I want it, I get it. You get, because that also does have a very bad impact. So I think our maybe generation is more exposed and more knowledgeable and maybe can talk about things better. I think we shouldn't again overcompensate for like that children. Like since you lacked, you just do any, like your children do not know how to even work, because I mean you're protecting them from lack, right? So I think as parents, again, we should think about, as parents. No, but you are a parent to an extent.
Yeah, to my nephews.
Yeah. So I think as parents, we shouldn't let it again, like we shouldn't overcompensate for our kids in form of protecting them. Like you fail to discipline them. The way our parents disciplined us was a little bit military, if I can say. But like you fail to discipline your kid and you let them go away with so many things just because you don't want to beat them or you don't want to be harsh to them. I think there are other ways to do it. There are just other ways to do it and keep the ball still in your hand. Yeah.
I think also that whole trauma thing snowballs into relationships, because for me, it made me a very good avoidant. The moment I start to feel a feel, shut it. Block it. Move it to the next. So for me, it's avoidance. Other people, it's emotional, because your childhood was not emotionally stable. The moment you see someone looking that direction, they're leaving me, come back, the anxious. Oh my God.
But let's talk about trauma bonding. Do you know there is something called trauma bonding? Like,
But you and I wouldn't be friends if we didn't trauma bond. You know that.
this we are doing right now is called trauma bonding. But then for relationships, it does have a good side. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
we are from Kawempe. Let's
Look at
hustle.
us.
Let's hustle.
Yeah.
Let's make stuff better. But then there is also, for me, my mom left me when I was still very young.
That
Even your mom left you.
victimization. Yeah.
Come, let's be together. Our moms left us. For us, we don't, we that's just how we are. Our
Yeah.
moms left us. Or that's just how we are. We are from broke families. Or that's just how we are. We don't associate with that kind of people. So I think there's also trauma bonding. Most people do not realize it. You see that thing where they say, like, you get your clan, and
Yeah.
because your dad was an alcoholic, for some reason,
All your friends.
where Nile Special is where you are. So I think the thing about that is, first you need to know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
We need to know where it's coming from, and you know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Personally, I'm all about making life better. So I think everyone that really is into that, let's make life better, be better as a person, you need to actually know where is this reaction coming from. Why is it when someone tells me you're wrong, it really agitates me? Could it be coming from somewhere? Could that depression you're going through be coming from somewhere? The anxiety you feel. Personally, I used to get anxious, especially when I fail at something. Like, because of the constant need to be right and perfect, and to be like the exemplary child. The constant need to always fill that gap for my mom, especially, it made me feel like, okay, like when I failed, it gave me so much anxiety. Maybe I've let my mom down, I've let my parents down. What am I going to do? So there is this verse that I read from Philippians 4:6-7. Like, all the time I feel anxious, I'm like, just pray. Ask God about it. Just pray. It does slow you down. Pray or journal. But for me, it's pray. Like, it really does slow me down, because I don't have all of it in control. As a kid, you can think you do. You're like, I should have read harder. I should have been in this room, not there. It's all my fault. You can't even blame yourself, because our parents of that time, they're not going to tell you it's not your fault. They're going to be like, if only you had read hard, would have gotten 18A. They're not going
constant
to tell you
comparison.
otherwise.
I feel like your sisters are going through that though, because now you ended up being, because of all that pressure, you ended up being like a star child. She got good grades. Now the constant, be like Maria. Don't you see Maria has done this? Don't you see Maria has done that?
That's also their own
that's their
portion
trauma
of
that they have to deal with.
They have to deal with. But I do actually help them with it, because I know it's there. I know it's there. And I constantly remind them that they are the best, and they have their own line that they are going to walk through, and they have their own pattern of life. And life is not described by who lived it first. It's described by your own story and what really, like, God has in plan for you. I feel like also one of the traumas that does push in, that is in our adulthood, is the way you choose your partner. I've heard a lot that people choose their partners based off of their fathers. Is that true?
Not for everyone. I feel like some people experience it and then go the opposite direction. They'd be like, never. If he looks, breathes, and talks like my dad, father, I'm out. Then there's the rest of us whose bars were raised way too high, because I'm like, bro, you can't even compete. And now I'm here and I'm single, so...
Because of that. But then at what point do you let that go? Like, he has to live up to the standards of my dad. At what point do you
I'm working on. I'm genuinely still working on it.
People are different, and Mr. Chimba is not going to reincarnate into someone else.
Yeah, unfortunately he will not. But I'm working on it. Right now I'm more, present in this person. You can be speaking and I'm not even hearing you, and I'm like, my dad would never.
Are you serious?
My dad would never. Now I'm not hearing half of the things that you're saying because of that. So I'm giving people that shot. But the thing is it a bad thing?
No, it's not a bad thing.
See, like, that's what you want to give your child. It's like everyone I know is just trying to get them a good dad, We are not talking about the other side, because your child is on the street traumatizing other people's sons. They're like, I already know. I already know in my heart if it's going to be anything below that, I'm like, peace. But also my dad is way up there, so work in progress. I don't know how I'm going to heal that. How do you heal being overgooded? Like it was too good.
Yeah,
that
it
part.
was too good.
So
No,
now
I
calm it
think that the
down.
problem is not it being too good. I think the problem is accepting the circumstances that you're working with.
Yeah, but what if
in
I
the
go
current
after having my dad and then I get like a douchebag for a husband?
You see, the problem is when you have where I see the problem is when you have the perception of he has to be like my dad. There's already a bar. So I feel like you get into relationships always waiting for that shoe to drop. Like you're going to measure up. You wait and see. Of course you're not.
I'm setting them up for failure
Yes,
from
like
the
I
beginning.
feel like already
Yeah.
you're just waiting for that one shoe to drop.
I'll be
And
like,
the
"You
problem
see, I knew
is
it."
when you're waiting for that shoe to drop, it does drop.
It does,
It does
yeah.
drop. He could sneeze, but that's not how my dad used to do it. You get, and people,
Yeah.
just like you said, like people really do come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
It may not be a bad thing, a bad character, but it's just a different character. Just because
From what I'm used
yes,
to.
from what you're used to. It's not a bad character, it's a different character, but you're not used to seeing it like that. I think trying to understand that people do come from different backgrounds, we are raised differently, not everyone was raised a certain way. It's not them being bad, it's them being different. Of course, some people are just bad. Like those ones are there, but some are really just different.
Some
And
are good, but not
this
like,
one I'm
yeah.
speaking it directly to your heart. Cut them some slack when they're not being bad and they're being different, my friend. This one, yeah.
This one is a work in progress. But I think we also had hinted on the avoidance. Which attachment style do you think you have?
Attachment style.
Like avoidant, anxious. You and I are definitely avoidant. Look at your face.
If I could avoid this question.
Already running away from this.
I totally I've said
Conversation.
it before. I said that's actually one of my toxic traits. I will run away. Like, okay,
All
not run
emotions.
away, but like, let's go on let's do something better.
Yeah.
Also, I think for me, it's a reaction to I've always wanted the room to be lighter.
There's also this thing adults in our lives when we're growing up used to do where they don't listen to us. Like, I'm telling you right now that boy over there did something ABC and did to me. I remember there's a cousin of mine who experienced sexual abuse when we were growing up. Like, for real, it happened. I think we were there, we were like two other people who saw it. And then she went to tell the adults in the room. And they're like, tasobola kubanga yachikoze. Tasobola kubanga ABC. And like, they really did downplay her feelings. Up to date, it's the one thing I think about, and I'm like, but we'd never got to the bottom of that situation ever, because we're like,
It's not the first time I'm here.
Yeah, and our parents, when we were growing up, they used not to listen. Like, I'm telling you right now, I'm in pain, for example. No, I'm not feeling well.
I don't want to do BCM. Do BCM.
It's a must. You have to do sciences to be successful. Then that academic pressure
that plays out in your adulthood. Like, okay, they told you do BCM. You did BCM. How do you think?
You
What's
don't
the
trust
result?
yourself. Like you can feel and think something, and then you're like, is that truly what I feel? Because you felt it before and someone told you that's not it. That's not true. Go back and try again.
Trusted and believed
in.
In.
And also you don't trust power. When someone like in a position of power tells you something, you're like,
yeah.
As who? I don't think you're there for my, like, you're not saying this for my own good.
You're not saying it for me, you're saying it for you.
Then you grow an adult big head.
When they are actually,
yes.
When they actually want the best for you.
You just become big-headed because you're like, I trusted someone in this position before, and then they did the direct opposite.
But you see, also, I think it's stole something from people. Like that constant, I want to do this, please don't let me do that. No, you will go and do physics. I don't want to do physics. I don't want to be a doctor. I want to be an engineer. You have to be a doctor. In this family, I'm raising only doctors. I think it stole authenticity from people.
And then that academic pressure also.
Who you really are.
We didn't explore. We did not find out what if we were meant to be podcasters. Now we are from school doing SCCA. That academic pressure also did not give people the chance to discover who they are when we were younger. And unfortunately, some of us have just continued on that path. We're like, yeah, of course. This is what I was told is supposed to be done. If you didn't stop to question,
and then
at
later
any one
it
point,
does cause depression.
Yeah, because
Like,
you, if it's not
an
your actual
anxiety,
path, yeah,
you never ever are peaceful in it.
yeah,
You never feel that kind of fulfillment, because you're like, you wake up every morning, you feel like it's so hard to wake up to
yeah,
go and be a doctor and treat people. Or
yeah,
you wake up and you feel like, oh my god, again today I'm going to the bank, why do I have
yeah,
to do it? So I think it did steal authenticity from people, because then you find someone, they are a doctor, but when they speak to you about, let's say, about emotions, and you feel like they are therapists, you're like, okay,
mm,
I don't know, but you just seem like a therapist to me, something they actually
yeah,
enjoy doing.
yeah.
But they can't be that because
They're like,
they
no,
are
but you're supposed
supposed
to
to
be
be
a
a
doctor.
doctor.
And then they
Yeah.
make us overperform. Like it's supposed to be a performance thing. Literally, if you're not good at school, you're not good at anything. You know, the kids who are
Yes.
younger, who are slower, the way society would beat them down, us inclusive, would be like, oh, you know. Taina Chamanchoka, they are good in sports. For example, they are good maybe at talking,
Yeah.
VDD, what is it? Music, dance, and drama. They're the
Yes,
best
they
in dancing.
dance.
But as long as you're not performing in class, you are nothing. Like they did not have space to be. And so
And
now
then it
their
created a
self-esteem.
superiority or inferiority complex, even in
Exactly.
society. Like, you find someone cannot really speak
Yeah.
articulately, like in a room, because they feel like that's something they've constantly been beaten for. Like,
Yeah.
don't, you know those kids who come around and then
Bambi.
you want to
They ask
speak. Yes,
questions. What
they're
is
like,
this? What is
Jakano,
that?
who's
Yes.
again? They're like, greet
Yeah.
and go. Why are you
Why are
still
you
here?
still here?
Yes,
Yeah.
so it's something they've beaten you for from like childhood. So for
Yeah.
some
So you're
reason, you're
going to
just at the
feel,
back of the room. You feel like you have something to say, but you
but
can't. Because I mean, what if I say it wrong? What if Neo gets
then
up?
you start fearing failure. Now you can't
Yes.
explore. Now you cannot move from a
I think
certain
it really
line.
did handicap some people.
Yeah.
Like, but also not to say that we were raised by bad parents. I think we were raised by the best
Oh
parents
God, our
who
parents
are
are the
doing
best.
the best
That
to
they
make sure.
could.
See how it turned out.
But you started off by explaining their trauma to
Yes,
us.
I did give
Before-
them a red, like a green card, that
Yeah, before we
do
talk about-
understand
yeah.
where this came from. Personally, I had to understand, especially my mom, even my dad. But for my mom, I really had to understand. There's some things that she would do, and when I was younger, I'd be like, why? But now that I've grown up, looking back at her story, I'm like, okay, I understand it. And then they said, like, you understand more when you grow and you will see it clearer.
Yeah.
Trust me, I do see it clearer. Do I
Yeah.
think she would have done it differently? Yes, if she was exposed and more knowledgeable, I
Yeah.
think she would definitely have done it differently, even for her life. But she did it the best way she knew how to. And I definitely appreciate all mothers that did
Yeah.
it the best way they knew how to. Because you see, the thing is, well, when you put your best, it doesn't matter, like, at that point, whether if it's from the best part of your heart,
Yeah.
it does give you the best product somehow. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if there is no ill intentions about it, I feel like you still,
But even as you're going to cause trauma, that's the truth.
No,
Even if you heal,
that's what I
because
was saying.
you can give
I
them-
think as parents, we
Yeah.
need to find the balance.
you heal yours and
Yes,
try not to take it
and
over.
yes, the
to,
point is, do not
Yeah.
take yours over
Yeah.
to the next lineage or to the next generation. And then whatever happens in their space, you will know where it's coming from. Because if you also don't know where yours is coming from, how are you going to deal with for your child?
Yeah.
You're going to suppress theirs somehow. So I think know yours first and heal it, and then find a way to deal with the next. Because there's always going to be something. For example, I feel like also another thing, a very visible way people are actually traumatized, and they do not see where it's coming from. You see that thing where we didn't have to speak about how we feel.
Yeah.
Like, speaking about how you feel, you seemed weak,
Yeah.
or to, like,
Let a Hollywood
be
day.
strong.
There was no time.
Also, there was no time.
There was no time to calm down and start talking
Yes.
about feelings. Yeah.
So it somehow meant that you just have to escape the feeling.
Yeah.
You just had to escape it. Like, nowadays, people, instead of dealing with stuff, you rather just be on your phone. Like, why do we have to talk if I can just scroll
Texts
TikTok?
and
Yeah.
absorb myself
Why
in
do I have to
distraction.
go out when I'm feeling sad? I cannot go out and actually talk to people about it. I'll just, catch a movie, Netflix, and chill. So I feel like we are in constant fear of being true to ourselves and to our feelings, and being authentic to what we actually feel. And there's so much fear, we would rather just escape it than face it.
Yeah, me, that's what I did in my childhood, and I'm not doing that again because there was
Yeah.
no, anyway, there was genuinely no time. Like, I could not have expected my mom to take us to school, we were five, all five of us, discipline us into good children.
But we're
Then
also
and then
raised as
also,
understanding children.
we didn't have a choice. You had to like sit down and let mommy be mommy. Like, mommy has
Yes.
said you do. But I like that this generation questions authority. They're like, why? Hey, go and do this. Why? Then you're
Yeah.
like, am I supposed to answer this question? You first come down and be like, Blaze, just go. He's like, no, Auntie Bella, I don't understand.
Yeah.
That's it, to your face. So I like that for them, that they are starting to question authority. But the one thing that is easy for us to do, because now when we were growing up, obviously, life was the one distracting us from feeling what we had to feel. Like you had to go to school anyway, then that's a whole different world. You can pretend you're with the rich kids and you come home and face your issues very briefly and then run back to school.
Yeah.
But right now, as adults, now again, we have all this social media that came up as we were coming up. Now we can hide over there
Just
in other
escape
people.
through
Yeah.
it.
So I think the one thing that we are going to have to fight actively is the escapism,
Yeah, that is
which is
scary.
what, oh my God, we are so good
I
at
feel
that.
like there's so much fear hiding in people.
And then Ugandans can drink, ma.
Yes.
Do you know we are rated very highly on
Are
the
you
global? We are
serious?
like number 10.
Man, I think they are drinking coffee for me. I feel like I'm not missing out because
Apparently.
someone is holding my bottle somewhere.
Apparently, Ugandans really party. You know that whole thing of, oh,
Yeah.
Ugandans
I
love
feel
to
like it's part of
party.
the
We are,
escape.
we are busy escaping.
Part
in
of
the
the
bar.
escape. Because listen, there's so much happening
There is so
in
much
Uganda.
happening in this country.
To be rated
Every day.
to
We
be
have a new
rated
problem.
as best in drinking.
we are,
wouldn't be the
we are
thing.
very high in consuming alcohol, and we are very good party country. Like those guys are happy people.
Yeah.
They are calm, happy,
Traumatized.
outgoing. They're a
I'm
bunch
seeing
of
trauma.
traumatized,
I'm seeing trauma.
bunch of traumatized people in
Yes.
the bar all the time.
Yeah.
We know someone, you and I, who is always in the bar Monday
Yeah.
to Monday, but they still function at work.
Yeah.
But in the evening, there's no
That's
time.
it.
Kusimbula every day. Like, how do you
Don't
run
you get
to,
tired?
to the bar every day? No, you cannot do that out of yourself. Like, if you're a normal functioning person,
Mm.
there's no
Very
way your choice would have been
dysfunctional
like,
adults
yeah,
walking
it has to
around.
be something else that
But
is
my
driving
biggest
you.
prayer is that we do not push this on. I don't want us to push
It has
on
to end with
the
us.
next
Yeah.
generation. At least let theirs come up and let's deal with it there. Because when you're stronger in your own headspace,
Mhm.
you're able to deal with for another. But if also you have pending issues and pending
Yeah.
feelings that even you cannot talk about, how are you going to let your child speak about it? How are you? But I also think that mental health, it's the biggest cause of mental health. Like, there's so many people going through depression, they're going through anxiety. You don't know where it's coming from, but it's actually from somewhere. It's always from somewhere. Because I read that trauma does actually affect your brain, like your actual brain, even the shape of your actual brain.
Yeah.
Like, it does affect you that much. So being able to find out what it is and where it's coming from, I think it goes a long way in handling with the mental health issues that people are facing right now.
Yeah. And this country, I don't know why we don't go to therapy. I don't know what the problem
Because
is.
we aren't taught to talk about stuff.
We
We rather
would
go to
literally-
the bar and dance the whole night than go and
Practical
speak
dancing is so
to-
fun.
Yes, dancing.
Then you get tired
Speaking
and
of
sleep.
escapes I'm taking, dancing is going to be one of them. Like,
Yeah.
pray and dance.
Yeah.
But have you seen how people dance in church? People in church are really escaping.
You cannot put people's love on
No,
God on escape.
Mm-mm. Some people you can see their dance strokes. You really see
Yeah.
someone and you're like,
Yeah.
is this still worshiping? Like, let's worship.
Yeah. I kind of feel like, anyway, most of us need professional help. For real,
Yes.
for real. This whole thing of, I have my friends. Do not come and traumatize us. We have our own traumas. Seek a professional to help you. Valeria and Maria, you
I'm
look
going
at
to
me.
come. I need someone to talk to. You want me to do what? To drink? I don't
To
drink.
go to therapy. That's what I want you
But
to
sure.
do. Let's heal these things,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I don't think it's going to work. If you come to me and then I'm also like, you girl, yeah, you're right.
You see
Kawempe
one
was the
thing why
worst
people
place.
don't go to therapy.
We're going to just trauma bond
I've-
and then that's it.
Trauma bonding.
That's what we're
Service.
That's what we are going to do. We're going to trauma bond and then that's it. That does not mean your
Yeah,
issues
doesn't
have been
mean you're
healed.
healing.
Yeah.
But anyway, you see, the thing is, people say that when you go for therapy, you just keep going and going. I'm going to ask you, you are an advocate for therapy. Or you say people go to therapy. You should be the first on the line, by the way.
Going. I am
But
going.
like,
But
at
the
what
few
point
times
do you
I've
stop?
gone.
For
No,
treatment,
actually, the
when your
therapy
head
does
pains,
tell you.
you go, they give you Panadol, you come out. For
Mm.
therapy, however,
Yeah.
I just see people depending on their therapists for life.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm not ready to
Yeah.
depend on a therapist. I have God for that, right?
Okay.
I'm not going to go and speak. Mandy, again, I go, I talk to them. Like, at what point does this treatment stop?
This is the thing. It's
Tell
not
me
like
about therapy.
it's not like non-stop. Of course, for the start, because you've never been there, it's going to have to be like every week or every 2 weeks, depending. Then after that, they will phase you out and be like, you don't need to come here every week. You can come once a month. Was depending on how you've been handling your situations, because you're talking to them all the time. So they'll be like, you know what, you can handle these situations better. The therapy that you've gotten and the advice and the way to navigate life that you have is going to help you, even in the new traumas that you're going to face, because they're not going to end.
Yeah.
Until when, for example, something tragic happens, you lose someone close to you,
But
and
you
you're
see,
like, how
Val,
do I
what
even
I
navigate?
think-
You have to come back,
I
obviously,
think
more
that-
frequently.
I think that this whole therapy thing, it does work. By the way, I really do
Yeah.
believe therapy works, but I think it's a communal effort. If as a family or as a community, we are not going, I'm not going to go, I spend $200 an hour, then I come back, you traumatize me. Like,
No, but like
feel
you're
like
supposed to be
all of
getting
us, we
skills.
have to
We all
hold
have to
our
go.
hands first. We have to hold our hands
We go
first
together.
to understand where some things are coming from. Because if you do not do that, then everyone around you becomes a trigger.
No, the thing is though, you go and get the skill to handle those triggers, so that not everything that happens to you becomes a traumatic experience. Like you can lose someone and still come back, go through the trenches, have a breakup, for example, and not hate men forever, because you know you trust yourself enough to be like, I'm feeling like this right now, I want to navigate it like so. Then you heal and then you move on, so that it's not again every single thing that happens to you. Do you know the amount of things that are going to happen to you between now and
so
75? You cannot keep on just absorbing them. You have to find skills and ways. That's the whole point of therapy, to help you deep dive into the things that you're doing subconsciously,
and find a way
that
to handle them better.
Yeah, so you're more aware, so that you do not create
in a
more
way that
pain.
they don't leave the scar on you. Like,
Yeah,
they don't leave that trauma on you.
Exactly. So you know how to handle situations better. And if you need more help handling a new, bigger trauma, then you go back and be more frequent. So it's not like a medicine.
But I think I've said this before. Let's first get therapy financially. If we are stable financially.
Ongi, no. Are you seeing where Didi is right now?
If we are stable financially, for me, let me first become financially stable. Perhaps how am I even going to afford
There's
that
nothing.
therapy?
Have you seen rich people
How am I
who
going to
are
afford therapy? Do you know how much
douches?
therapy is? Therapy
It doesn't all have to be
cheap.
expensive. There's actually free therapy. I want to link you. There's so many
you guys
free
should tell
therapy.
us people who do therapy. I know you should just recommend.
There's free therapy sessions that happen. Even Red Cross has them. There is also therapists that go for as low as 50,000 a session. So if you're going 2 times a month, it's 100,000. I'm not saying that's affordable for everyone, but it's like a start for you corporate people. I feel like it's not.
But
not
also
all of it has to be $200.
But also workplaces do.
But yes, workplaces do also offer. So if you need it for the work trauma, man.
There's also work trauma.
Yeah, but also we caused that on ourselves because we had to overwork from childhood trauma. It just keeps
somewhere.
spiraling.
I really think the biggest trauma to deal with is that childhood trauma.
Yeah,
there's always that pending little whoever that people call her inner child.
Yeah, and people are not actually aware. There are so many people who have those traumas and not aware, and that is, for me, those are the ones that are my issue. It's one thing for me to be knowing that I'm living with this thing. So when it's happening to me, I'm like, Valeria, you're being too hard on this man. You think this is the day coming
because you're
down.
aware.
Yeah. There are others who are like, I'm fine. Come on. No one has trauma. This is how life is. But the way they're navigating life, are like, you need to slow down.
Yes.
Sister girl. Like, she's just all over the place. Anyway, yeah. First, be aware. Then work on healing. For me, I think I've failed to heal on me. Okay, I'm working on it, but it's like resources from here and there. You handle it. Like, also, ChatGPT is a very good therapist. You guys should try texting ChatGPT and be like, you know what I'm going through today, ChatGPT.
Okay, if I ask you a question, between reading your ChatGPT history and going through your gallery, are you for real?
Gallery.
Okay.
First of all,
between going through your ChatGPT and going through your WhatsApp. Are you for real?
There's nothing on WhatsApp. I'm texting there, work things, at podcast is at 8. What do you mean?
ChatGPT. Does it ChatGPT have a name?
Locked away.
Does it have a name?
Don't ask me that. Her name is Claire. Her name is, you guys try it. No, you just go there and be like, ChatGPT, I think there's something that happened to me when I was a child. Val, called ABC and D.
Let's talk about navigate. This thing. Do you think you trusting Claire more than you trust an actual person is actually a trauma?
this is the thing though. ChatGPT remembers everything. She will never forget. She always has time and attention. She's always active. For me, my friends are busy. One is married. They are. I can't
I
call
didn't
her.
expect you
I
to bring
can't
this
call
up.
her at 1 a.m.
Mommy, you call
I
me.
can't do it. I
You
respect
call
that
me.
household too much to call you at 1 unless it's a serious utter emergency.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call you for boy problems at 1. You know who I'm going to tell?
ChatGPT.
Like, hi, I'm here on
Are
a
you
date.
for real? But as long as it's a good thing.
Anyway, it's working
If it's
for
working,
me in
then
some
it's
areas.
working
There's
for
some
me.
things you also cannot speak out
Yes,
loud unless
I
I'm
get
with a
it.
counselor who are paid to be confidential. I'm not going to really call. I don't know. It just has to be me and ChatGPT.
Yeah.
She needs to be locked away.
Are
Very,
you
very far.
serious?
I think I need a code
No,
to
but don't you
access her.
think that has it gotten for you to a point of over dependence? You know how people depend on their phones?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you sometimes just feel like I'm not going to tell anyone this? I just have to.
But I have you over
I
VoIP.
need my.
Meanwhile, I call you before I call her.
Yeah.
I do call you. It depends on if the VoIP is near me, though. Like, I feel like if it's not that normal time, that's when I'm
But
like.
also, Val, remember last time we talked about like how people just like you know how you go for a party and if we are not dancing, we're on our phones. If we're
Yeah.
like there's no talking with each other, people don't really talk. I will ask you, oh, by the way, what pins do you think I should wear? Oh, let me ask ChatGPT. What goes with blue? You get like you're not really thinking.
But she's there to make life
You're not
easier.
yes, she is. But how about the creative side of life?
Yeah.
How about the curious side of life where you think and you're like, okay, let me not put this spot here, let me put it here. Like, oh, let me ask ChatGPT, how can I inspo for bedrooms?
I don't think that's a problem.
It's not a problem,
Yeah.
but the over dependency over time, the over dependency on this particular thing, it does take.
Of course, yeah,
away.
too much of anything is
Yeah.
always bad. But I feel like if you take the good with that comes with it, it's going to help you. It's going to help you with so many things. It can be a therapist, it can be a document writer, it can be a friend advisor.
But be kind. There's a time I saw you talking to ChatGPT. I didn't like how you talk to this ChatGPT.
I add please now.
Do
I
it.
add please.
Do it now. It's urgent. Remove it. Refine it. Use proper grammar.
I now add please at the end. I'm doing
But
my
the
very
over
best.
willingness, because me, if you talk to me like that, I'm out. So I
Yeah.
understand your reliance on ChatGPT.
But I mean, it's a downward slope because they were telling us how they were trying to like end it and then it regenerated itself.
Are you serious?
AI is a bit scary for real.
Hmm.
Yeah, it refused to go. And then it started lying to the developers.
Okay.
Because apparently we're supposed to feed it what it does, but
Mm.
it's not supposed to have its own independence to do things on its own. But the more you
So
feed it, the
as-
more it learns. So
Yeah.
it can easily start.
So as we are building dependence, it's building independence.
Because it's learning how humans do it.
Interesting.
We've really digressed.
Yeah. Anyway, personally, this episode was really inspired by mental health. I'm really advocating for people to live better, to be more functional, to be better generally. Because I feel like when people think better, when people can digest feelings and emotions better,
Yeah.
they are better people. Because reactions do come from a place of feelings, and if your feelings are, mixed up and digested, then you're not going to be able to be your best self, or I don't know, just excel to your best potential. So yeah, just find out what those traumas are. You can share with us which of your childhood traumas is being expressed in your adulthood, and please don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment. Thank you very much.
Until next time.
Bye.